So, welcome to the Vet Center Roundtable. First up, we have Air Force veteran Leola McNeill. We have Marine Corps veteran Larry Bynum, Army veteran Oric Curry, Army veteran Leonard Hart, and Marine Corps veteran James McDonald. Group, are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ready.
Urban Christian Veterans provides a safe place for Christian veterans of color to discuss the challenges you face in your daily lives. Being a person of color has its challenges. Being a Christian has its challenges. Being a veteran has its challenges. All of those factors being combined makes for a unique and sometimes difficult life experience that is seldom talked about in public forums. Thank you for tuning in to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Here's your host, D. Allen Rose.
Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. This is D. Allen Rose, and you are listening to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Okay, so first and foremost, let me just say thank you to everyone for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you just messing up the audio just now with all of that potato chip bag rustling you got going on. All right, let me start over. My man just bust open a bag of chips today. Let me start off. I told you I can't get to the mute button fast enough, brother. So I can't. So I'm gonna start over. Okay, I'm gonna welcome you again, and we're gonna get into this. All right. There he go again. You get the bag right. Yeah, them Doritos. What is that?
What kind of chips you eat, man?
All right, we good. We good, man.
Or something.
All right, let me start again. So, again, let me first and foremost say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are busy. It's evening, and you have other things that you could be doing. So, first and foremost, let me just say thank you. And so, let me remind everyone of the topic of discussion today. So our topic for today is, why does combat cause faith to be strengthened in some veterans while causing others to question it? And when I say faith, I'm talking faith in God. All right, let me repeat that. Why does combat cause faith to be strengthened in some veterans while causing others to question it? And just to give you some background on this, or some additional info, where I'm coming from is I want you to answer that or discuss it from the point of view of a veteran, not how you were thinking at the time that you went through whatever situation you went through. But now that you're older, now that you're a veteran and you're no longer in, I want you to think of it from that perspective. So who wants to chime in? Anybody?
Leola's here.
Okay.
For me, it caused me to really think about who I was in the Lord. I had to come to terms with what I truly believed whenever I was going through the process. I had to decide if I really believed in God or not, and that I trust him enough based on the things that I had gone through. Now, you said not to go back, but what I was going through was they gave us a briefing that told us that being a Christian meant that in that country it violated their laws, and the Air Force couldn't do anything for me. That was an interesting concept for me, to know that if someone found out that I was a Christian, I'm violating somebody's laws. I hadn't heard that before. I'm from Lumber Bridge, North Carolina, but I didn't know anything about that type of law. And so I had Baptist, I remember, on my dog tag. And so I had to come to terms with the idea. I didn't want them to get it confused. So I changed it to Christian, so that if by chance someone captured me or something, that I would be willing to say that I was a Christian and willing to live up to that belief. And I still take those dog tags now, and I look at them, because at the time it wasn't as easy as I made it sound just then. At the time, I had angst within myself. I remember that. I had a whole lot of reservations about whether or not, but I had to say, am I true to what I truly believe? So that was something that I can say that I have, and I can look back on it and say I'm thankful that it made me make that decision, that I love the Lord more than anything, and I'm willing to stand for it.
Okay, so since then, did that situation have an impact on you as a veteran? Like, I know that you were going through it at the time and it was kind of difficult, but now that you're several years removed from that, has that impacted you in any way?
I think it makes me stronger, and that I want to share that with people. I find that it is my living testimony that I use when I'm talking to other people, that I
Okay.
talk about that piece. Yes. So yes, it does. It makes it a big deal for me. I use it as part of my own personal testimony.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't know. Sometimes, to be able to separate the two. You're a young man trying to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. And you go in the military and they're trying to take everything, what I call a cleanser, and instill in you all the things that they stand for and their traditions and so forth. That my religious side never left me, but I know that it was always there, and I just had to tap into it. But then, on the other hand, finding time to tap into it. And as time went on, let me say, when things really got real, I mean, it's going down. All the training, all the leadership skills, everything that you know about to come into play. And then you put forth all those tools that you have in your toolbox. And then things will start happening. And I guess what I'm trying to say, the night we got hit, that's when it really sunk in that this is about real. And that tomorrow may never come. People think about what they're going to do tomorrow, what they got to do tomorrow. But for me, I said, boy, the way this is going, tomorrow might not never come. But then when something happens to you, and you know that the only reason that you're still here, a lot of people say you were lucky. And I said, no, I was blessed. So after running that gauntlet and then get out and try to put all that to the side and stuff. And I was just trying to comfort my mom because I know she loved to get her praise on. And I know that she was a mother in the church. And I knew that the only way she can get there is through her children. And everybody made me feel like, well, you ain't been here, you've been fighting wars and been in the military. You need to start picking up some of the slack. So I just got into the rotation. And when I did that, I started taking my mother to the church, but it was like being back at home, and I knew people that knew me all down through the years, but all I wanted to do was get downtown to the passing game. That's all I wanted to do. And see, up underneath my suit was a jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hat in the truck, drop mom off, give her a kiss on the cheek, and peons right downtown.
Right.
And then one day, I had to stay out the church because she was a mother of the church, and it was messing my flow up. And next thing I know, I was sitting up there in the front row with her, trying to niche her on the side. Hey, we got to bounce now. We got to go. And she passed the torch to me that day.
Okay.
And she reminded me that our family history is in the church. And that I've been chosen to carry that torch.
Okay. Right on. Anybody else?
So when she said that,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So when she said that, I was like, this is a big factor. And I went to my favorite blues singer, Brother P, and I said, why Lee?
Right.
And she said, why not? And it started a whole chain reaction. And she asked me, she says, look around the church. She said, people here have to be led and taken care of. And I'm like, well, how that, goes with me. And she said, our name and our family name is in here. And it has to remain in there. And I know if you take this torch, you will make it so. So with all that military background and all that stuff that I've been through, all those tight spots I've gotten out to, just seemed like it just started coming into play. But when I got into the spirituality of it, it all began to make sense.
Okay.
It really did, and I've been there ever since.
I appreciate that. Anybody else?
Well, as for me, myself, as far as I would already had religion in me, and I was a God-fearing man, and as I came from the war and everything, it kind of opened my eyes up more to be more giving and nurturing the people, because to me, you never know. I mean, I could have died out there myself because the vehicle behind me got blown up. I had to give medical attention to the guys that was there. So I know God was with me that day, because that could have been me without my faith in the Lord, in God. I don't think a lot of things I don't think I'll make it, because my sister, she was heavy in the religion, so she sent me a what's the name of it? Fred Hammond tape, Fred Hammond CD, and I listen to Fred Hammond like almost every day, and that I'm telling you, the church music, the gospel music. Once you start listening to it, you get that feeling. You get more into it. Even when they had like the chaplain, they would have service. I would go to the service, and I would attend. So, and as far as me being a veteran now, I still keep my faith, and I still attend church, not as regularly as I used to, because I'm more of a giver. I give and I help people. And my wife would be the first one to tell you, you're always helping everybody. I want to do something around the house. And I'm like, I do stuff around the house. The thing is, I mean, when I see somebody that need help, I help them, and I give. And for me, that's how I tithe. I give to people and I help people. And I give a lot. And the thing is, I don't realize until it's done. And it's like, wow. But, I let it go and everything. But, God has me, me and him have our relationship and everything. So as me being a veteran right now,
okay,
I feel good with me and the Lord.
Okay. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
I think what got me the most was, your whole life growing up, all you hear in church is "Thou shalt not kill," and then you join the military. You're not thinking, hey, I'm going to go kill somebody, because you have family in the military, and they never saw combat. It's just you're not even thinking. But me being infantry at the time and seeing combat and actually, you know, doing what we had to do. Well, to me, we didn't have to do it because we all know we were lied to about it, anyways. As far as us being over there, we know uh, Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction because we gave it to him. We know what 17 out of the 19 terrorists from Saudi Arabia, but we don't go to Saudi Arabia to fight them. We go to Kuwait because that's the richest part of Iraq in 1950, and we took it from them. Iraq was coming to get it back. That's why that's why we was over there.
Okay.
And plus the oil. But I just feel like I was lied to, and because of a rich man, not Jesus, not God, but because of a rich man, wanting to keep his territory or whatever the case may be, we get sent over there to kill people. I mean, it wasn't to defend the United States. It wasn't to defend our people, nothing like that. Because if that was true, we would have went to Saudi Arabia. That's where, Bin Laden was from. I mean, and plus, like I said, 17 out of the 19 terrorists were from Saudi Arabia. But that's like me hit you and you hit McDonald. Why are we going to Kuwait when Saudi Arabia did it? But anyways, we got lied to about a lot of wars. We got lied to about a lot of things. But one thing I just remember from when I was little, one of the first things you remember is thou shalt not kill. And when you do, you look at your life like, you're going to hell. I mean, I feel like you can repent all you want, but he only asked for 10 things. And I couldn't do that, and I mean, I've been to church and I had pastors talk to me about it and, explain to me, this, that, and the other. But Moses didn't come down and say, thou shalt not kill unless you're in war or unless you're doing this or, whatever. He said, thou shalt not kill, and when you do that, it changes your whole perspective on life. I mean, it messes with your head, your psyche, um, messes with your religion. It messes, it does bring questions, or to me, it brings questions and stuff like that. But I never questioned God. I never questioned Jesus. I have questioned Christianity. I have questioned my religion, stuff like that. And I've done my own sort of research. I never read the whole thing where I was reading the Quran. That's like 80%, just like the Bible, I got some Jewish friends. I was going to read their Bible. They said, nah, man, we'll just tell you about it because you ain't going to understand it. But, just coming from different religions, a lot of it's almost the same, and it's really God, to me, being a Christian, God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, and that's that. After that, a man shouldn't be able to tell you that you got to go to war, and you're not protecting nobody. You're just going over there because, like I said, in the 1950s, England and the United States took the richest part of Iraq, which was Kuwait, and made their country, put their own people in there and all that. And then Iraq, Saddam Hussein was like, I'm going to get my country back. And the reason a lot of this I know is because we had over 790 POWs and Iraqi POWs, and they look just like me and you. I mean, you couldn't tell the difference. I mean, they look just like us, and they're telling us, yeah, they telling us stuff that the United States is what do you call it when the propaganda in the United States. You're going to tell us what we want to hear, but they ain't going to tell us the whole truth. Just like we finding about aliens now. We always knew there's aliens, but now they're like, okay, there's aliens, I mean, it's just all the lies that we've been told our whole lives And then when we get older and find out the truth, it really hurts.
Wait a
And going
minute,
back,
wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard that correctly. Did you just say you just found out about aliens?
no,
But you
no, I'm
go
saying
ahead.
the government just put out there that
Oh,
they really are aliens.
did that?
Yeah, they
Okay,
just put
right
that
on.
out. I think it was last year or something like that. But they
I
finally
missed
put
that
everything
one.
out there, and we always knew that. Yeah, yeah. And
Area
Okay.
51.
there's an alien at Area 51. They got a spaceship at Area 51. All kinds of stuff that we always knew, but we couldn't like put our finger on it because they never told us. But finally, they went ahead and like let some of that stuff go and told us everything. I mean, you can Google it, But
Mm,
we're going back to the religious part of it. You know, it messed with my head, But I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of talking. I'm doing a lot better with that. But I think a lot of my brothers who was in there with me, it kind of messes up a little as far as thou shalt not kill. There was no thou shalt
gotcha.
not kill because of this, that, and the other. It was just thou shalt not kill. And I joined the military, and
Right. I got you. I got you. That's a good point. So yeah, we might need to we might need to revisit part of that. So I'll come back to you on that. Brother Curry, any thoughts?
Yeah, when I thought about religion, or when I grew up in a very religious family, went to church every Sunday, and my mom, my grandparents, when I finally made the decision to after going to college and said that went for me and join the military, they was like, why? And I said, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. I want to do something else. I want to travel. I want to do the things that is required for me. But before then, I have in the faith in being blessed, but I had certain things that happened in my life that, kept me stronger to a religious belief, believing in God and how He has helped me through things. Now, I struggled, as
Hmm.
we all do. We're human. And I heard Brother Biden talk about, thou shalt not kill. And I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it as I'm a warrior. And by me being a warrior, I'm here on a mission to protect. Now, we all know in war, things come out later that we said, why were we there? Why were we here? What did, and then the lives that we took that we didn't have to take. It puts a lot of burden on you when you said, and you come to find out later that while we were there was not all the way the truth being told to us. But we was there for a mission. We was there for an assignment. And when we look back on all of this, I have sleepless nights. And I really thank God for allowing me not to go down that deep road. Now I have some sleepless nights. I have some sweats. I have some reminiscing. I've seen colleagues get blown up, and not just only there, but also being in law enforcement. So I have double whammy of it. But I think a lot of people have to go and find their inner being with God. Okay, because sometimes we look for others, and sometimes we just gotta ask Him. And I think sometimes that's where we fail ourselves because we're looking for something somewhere else or somebody else to give it to you when He's right there with you each and every day. And when we don't take that and embrace that, it affects us. Now, He knows all what we do, good or bad. We might hide behind a door, behind a closet, or behind whatever, but He knows.
Hmm.
And, I asked myself, what would it be like to say, God, guide me? And if He guides me, I know He knows what my past is like. But he also knows what my future is like.
And for other veterans who are in service members who battle this, it's not easy. Because when you come from a religious family, what do you think? You know, am I going to be a constant projector or be in that realm of saying, you know what, I'm only going to work in this position or in this place, and I'm not going to shoot and do the things. It's not reality, especially when you're required to do certain things. And I think you asked us the question that's most important is when we talked about what religion, because when we go in the military, you got all religions in the military. You got different religions that enter the military, and you got people who are non-believers in the military. But we all come because we have a one objective goal in whatever service that we doing is to provide for our family, for ourselves, and sometimes how do we get through that? And how do we survive that after it's all said and done when we get to come back home? See, over there, yeah, you over there fighting and you surviving and all this other stuff, and you thanking God or whomever you believe in, and then you get back. And then you forget who helped you get back. We do it. And sometimes and he'll remind us, but sometimes when he reminds us, it might be too late. And so, you know, I just hope that we as veterans that are battling with our beliefs, because we all have different beliefs, and just, you know, our religious belief, our belief in whatever we do, like when Don talked about, you know, his family beliefs. McNeill talked about how she had to deal with being in the Air Force and how that all, and she had to change, or she had to, you know, make some decisions. And now she gets to go back and look over those decisions. We all do. And the thing about it is, how do we sleep after all this is said and done? When you want to ask God to let you rest tonight, so I can get up and refresh tomorrow.
Okay, right on. Any thoughts?
I have a thought that for me, I had a grandparent who was an interesting character. He finished high school at the age of 72. So he's not one of your PhD type of religious people, you understand?
Right.
So he had a practical faith. And what was interesting is that the things that I had to hold on to is my anchor scripture was all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And so that nothing could ever separate me from God, heighten or depths. And whenever it came to these aliens that Larry was talking about, I knew about them early because I remember running to my grandfather and say, "These things don't exist, do they?" And he said, "Yes, they do, baby." And that was an interesting thing to me. I was 8 when he gave me that philosophy. He said, "They exist.
Okay.
And they are mighty, but your God is almighty." You know, and when you read the scriptures, you actually see these people talk about. You don't see God hiding them. He says that there's principalities and powers, and that there are things that were created, and that it can be in different places. They have angels, you know. And interestingly enough, we think of those things as being something not real. But when you see the carvings of all of those things, if you look at the History Channel, you see these beings that are carved from somewhere that didn't come from somebody's imagination, is the way I think. And so my grandfather was a practical 72-year-old man who when he finished school, it was 8th grade, but he had a really good theology up under him. And he let me know it's not about me. It was about Jesus Christ who died for me. We have this crazy religion that's different from everybody else. See, it's not about what I've done, but what Jesus did for me. And so that helped me a lot. And then I was listening to Larry talking about the wars and stuff. If you look at the Old Testament, you should see the wars that they had. David was a warrior, just like we're talking about when Curry was talking about. He was a warrior. And they didn't just kill one thing, they wiped out the entire group, everything. women and children and all those types of things. So the way it came, and that came after your Moses, the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. And that was God directed. And so that's one of the things that I can say that's there when I read the Bible. I see where those things, and Jesus even told us that before he comes back, there are going to be wars and rumors of wars. And so we know that those things are going to happen. And so that's for me. And I can say that 72-year-old man who did not have those PhDs that you hear everybody else with, he was able to give me a firm foundation on what it is. And it's not about me. It's about what Jesus has done for me. And so, and when I had to make that decision to put that Christian on my dog tag, I think he had something to do with it when I think about it now. He had a lot to do with the fact. I don't want you to get it twisted. I don't want you to get confused. This is who I am. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. So yeah. So I'm going. Oh my. Yeah.
I don't think it weakened anybody. I think everybody who believes made it stronger. You know, for me, it made me stronger. You see, and like Corey said, I'm a warrior, and I know it. You see, and I had to deal with Marines that were thinking just like Biden was thinking. I didn't want to change their mind, but I had to put them in a situation that the task at hand, we'll worry about all that when all this is over with here.
Right.
But right here is now, I need everybody on the same page, you know, because I want to go home just like everybody else do. And I know this thing is not going to go according to plan. I know that. You know, there's going to be by the grace of God that some of us will walk away and some of us not. But there's no in between.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get that right. And you'll find, I found that out even as I walk the streets today as a veteran. You know, I had to be very familiar with the way I talk, the way I walk, and how I carry myself. Because the things that I've been molded with does not apply in these streets. The same things don't apply in the church. You see, people say one thing in the church and turn around and do something else. I think Marcus said it best last night. Hate don't like the truth. You see, and I believe that. I really do. So I stick with that truth because that truth that's what makes me strong. And when it happens to you, and you know it couldn't be nobody but God, that just strengthens you even more.
That's interesting.
That's my journey.
No, that's interesting that you say that because, you know, you talk about the concept of when you get to the point where you know that it was nobody but God, right? It's the reason why I framed the question like I did, because I'm a true believer that God has these things, what we call revelations. What I mean is, I'm not talking about the book of Revelations. I'm talking about God reveals things to you when you are ready and not before you are ready. And so I framed the question the way I did because a lot of us, when we went through what we went through back then, we weren't ready for the revelation that it was nobody but him, right? And it's after you got out and then after you lived a little bit longer and had some more experience and you say, man, I should not, based on what I know today, there's no reason for me to be here right now. Now you know it was nobody but him, right? But it took many, many years of living for him to reveal to you these things. It's like saying you can read a Bible scripture today and 10 years from now, read it again and have a different interpretation because you've had 10 more years of living and he will reveal to you the new understanding because now you're ready. 10 years ago, you weren't ready for this. So you had your own understanding, or at least you had an understanding based on your experiences at that time. So it's a very good point that you made that a lot of us get to the point where we reach the understanding that, yeah, it was nobody but him. There's no other way. Right. So
out of all my journeys, when I had that heart attack, I made the degree. And when it was all said and done, I remember this doctor coming in the ICU. The first thing he did, he put a stinger on my main arteries in my brain. And he told me that you're the luckiest man in the world.
Mm.
And I said, what make you say that? He said, man, we almost gave up on you.
Mm.
Because they know, and McNeill would know this, when they do this, they're on a clock. They're on a time clock. They got enough time to shut you down, and they got enough time to crank you back up.
Mm.
And
Okay.
when you don't meet that time limit, they got you putting them in a position where they got to call it. And that's where I was.
Okay.
I had got down to second before they got ready to call it, and all of a sudden my heart just popped right up on me.
Mm.
And that's when I said to myself, boy, nobody but God.
There you go.
And that's true. That is a very true statement. After we are hitting on your, pumping on your chest long enough, there is a time that we have to say, well, we have done all that we can do.
It was so hard for me to breathe because I knew I was struggling strength. I knew that. Because I asked them, I said, why am I having such a hard time breathing? You know, that's because all the air had run out my ass. I mean, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But I can remember when they was rolling me into the ICU and this brother, this orderly, I can't think of this guy's name, but I know if I ever see him again, I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he just looked at me and he just said, hey, you are truly blessed. We didn't think he was going to make it up these stairs and stuff. And they took good care of me. I mean, their profession that they're in, they took real good care of me. I'm here today because of them.
So
God put people around me too.
Mhm.
That's it. To make sure that I was taken care of. Now, just think about this. This went down
Angels,
on
yeah.
Saturday. I walked out of Grady on Wednesday.
Mm. Okay.
You know what a parking lot is down by McDonald's on the other side of Grady?
Right.
My wife was on the third deck.
Yeah.
And I walked out of that hospital all the way to that car.
Okay. Right on.
All the way up there. And that's a supernatural thing.
No
It's
doubt.
a supernatural thing, man. And nothing can tell me differently. Yeah, no. And I know that there's other veterans probably don't experience some of the same things that I have
Mm-hmm.
that made it through those crossroads like that. And this military, man, this stuff on the leadership side, when you get up to a certain level in leadership, especially on the Marine Corps side, and there's a black senior staff NCO, you either got it or you don't have it. A lot of people wear it and talk the talk. But when it's time to walk that walk and that fear hit them and they don't know how to handle that, or they've been in the MOS that didn't keep them around the fleet, you could see it in them. You could see it in them. And they're running like flies. And you be like, where in the hell did you join the Marine Corps from? You see? I mean, it's amazing. I've had Lance Corporal PFCs with more courage than some staff NCOs that end of the day, they begin to realize what they're held accountable to and what they're responsible for. You see? And they're not on the same level that you on. And they think I'm crazy. They think the way I operate is just crazy. See, I don't have time to do a whole lot. I have to deal with what's ahead of me, what I have to deal with. I have to encourage everybody around me that I know what I'm doing. And I see things that you don't see. I know things that you don't know. And I'm praying to God that I get this right. You know, and time is going to tell. I'm just going in as just as scared as anybody else. But I have to be lifted up in a way where they don't see all these things that's pushing me and bothering me. And when I get out, with some of the same things that I have to push myself within my church organization.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be above the rim with everybody else. I had to be above the rim of the line. Can't worry about your path. That's something between you and God that you have to work out. But I have to stay right on that path. And I can't bring my military experience to the fold because it doesn't belong there. But I can always reach for it if I need it.
So
It's a beautiful thing.
Let me ask this question. Hey, Brother Byron, did you have something you wanted to add? Look like you're anxious to say something. I might be wrong. No?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Well, let me ask this question, because it sounds like, given the question about combat having this impact on faith. Now the question I have is why? Why combat? Right? There's a lot of things that people have a tendency to experience. But what is it about combat? And I'm talking about there's a whole bunch of what you call traumatic things that even people who have never been in the military go through that impacts their faith. But what is it about combat in particular that either strengthens a person's faith or causes them to question it? What is it about combat specifically?
This one, I will kind of say that because when you're in combat, your survivability is being questioned.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you in training or you in the rear or you somewhere else, it can happen. There's accidents that happen. But when you're in combat, you are put in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
You are there not only for yourself, but your battle buddies, comrades, teams. You got so much going on. And then you're in an environment in most cases that you know nothing about. So that's another stressful factor that puts you in. You leaving your comfort zone and you going somewhere that there's no comfort. There is nothing that you know. And that stress level goes up because when you have your briefings, your talk, they tell you to look to your left, look to your right, look behind you, look in front of you. That person might not need your might not need you back. And I can say that for reality, that did take place in some of the combat experiences that I had.
Right.
And my combat is what colleagues did not come back now.
Yeah.
I could be in a rear and there's a training accident and somebody died or something of that nature. That was an incident. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there you in combat. You in combat and your faith, your belief, and everything else is questioned. And when you're in the rear, you feel safe. Oh, I might say a prayer, I might go to church, I might do this. But when you are there, it's everybody in church. Everybody going and getting their praise and worship.
It's different.
At the chapel.
And I think and everything
they going. It's packed.
Everybody's in there.
I'm gonna piggyback off what Corey just said.
Yep.
I can remember when the Scuds hit down the Riyadh, and it hit this army installation, killed a lot of folks.
Tehran.
And the next thing I know, everybody that was in Riyadh was running up where we were up on the line. Because now they know that they can get cut anywhere they are. You know, you might be down there wearing clean fatigues, eating hot cow every day, being able to call home. But the Scuds was coming down there, blowing things up. And they were coming over the top of us. We know they was on the way, but we didn't know they would dial in to hit Riyadh. So what he's saying is, even though in that comfort zone, that's why I say when things just really got real, you start seeing all these people, oh, where y'all come from? When y'all move up here? You see, now they in it now. They in it now. And in that combat, that start pushing up that next level. That next level just jumped off. And it's an amazing thing, especially when you don't know the difference between outgoing and incoming.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that you can always tell when they first get there, when they hear that boom,
Yeah.
they start ducking. And I'm not saying that you get used to it, but you know what's happening around you. And you never forget things like that. I can remember at
Yeah.
night
You
was
know
the
what to
most dangerous
expect.
part. Nighttime is the dangerous part. Because when people scattered, they just running all over the place, looking, trying to find a bunker, trying to get low, and trying to turn the lights out and stuff, and hoping that whatever that rocket that's coming down our way doesn't hit anybody and kill anybody. And I've always said that the Iraqis know how to shoot, they would have killed a whole lot of Marines. That's because we was only 32 miles from Kuwait.
Yeah.
When they held Kuwait. And to separate the two, you'll never be able to separate it because that memory is going to always be with you for the rest of your life. It will always be there. Whether you was a cook, whether you was a truck driver, whether you was a grunt, a mill hammer, whatever your occupational field was, everybody played a role and everybody had a part to play. And everybody did their duty. And to come back home and to feel safe and sound, you don't never feel safe. You know, we could be sitting out eating somewhere, somebody threw around there, pop something off, you know, the first thing we gonna do is try to find out where it came from. you know, we're never comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part I have a problem with. When I go to a restaurant and people get ready to seat me, if that seat don't look right to me, I'm not sitting there. Don't ask me why. It's just my way I think. I got to have that wall. I got to have everybody in front of me. You know, I can't enjoy the evening with my back to everybody. You know, and that was the time I didn't care nothing about stuff like that, but I do. When I'm in traffic, I don't get right above somebody's car. I make sure I can be able to get out of traffic or run into somebody. It's just these things that I have in my head that I know that to protect myself or what I need to do, I can do that. But I've also known that I don't carry my weapon with me no more like I used to. I don't strap. And the reason I don't strap is I don't want to kill nobody accidentally. I don't want to kill nobody out of anger. I want to kill somebody because I can. I ain't that dude that says that I won't defend myself. Now I will defend myself, but I don't need that military guidance to hit me and I react to it. Because see, I'm not a delayed person. Once I make my mind up, it's on. And I know that. And that's the scary part. It scares me. So I don't put things around me that if I had to push that button, there's something that I may regret or something that I didn't take a second to think about. And I've already had that happen once. And when I calmed down and thought about it, it really scared me. All the hard work I've done, everything that my entitlements that I've begotten would have all been washed away. And been sitting in a 12x12 fighting these hoodlums off of me, which I'm too old to do anyway. Now, I'm not a young man anymore. And I just started putting things in order. And then that kind of drew me more to the church, I guess. You know, and like Hart was saying earlier, you know, doing work around the church, doing things for the church, and being a giver, you know, and just help out in my family whenever I can, you know. And I don't straddle the fence with anything I do. And I know the Lord don't. My two favorite prophets in the Bible, now I got three of them. Elijah is one of them. Paul is one of them, and Moses. Those my pet peeves right there, because when I see the story of these guys and how they went about. Now David was a bad boy too. That Manita was talking about. He straight up war. He even killed another man for another man's woman. I mean that stuff is just crazy. But I stick with them because I like Elijah, because Elijah knew about the Lord, but he wasn't having it. And when the Lord came upon him, he said, "You gonna have to show me who you is. Just because you said don't make it so." And when the Lord showed him who he was and brought him to his knees, he was locked in then. Paul always had time to share the word of God with anybody. Moses took Israel out of Egypt, and out of all the things that the Lord did for them, they were still ungrateful. And all the learning curve from that was he was trying to teach them how to love and take care of each other. That's all he was asking them to do. But the journey wasn't going to be as easy, the journey. And we all know the journey on the road is not easy. You're going to hit some bumps in the road. So I'm prepared for all that. You know, I'm going through a journey right now with a church that I'm just trying to hold on to. But the haters in the church is trying to throw all the obstacles in the way to keep it from happening. But they won't win because I got the Lord on my side. And I know that. He's leading in my direction.
Okay.
Come fast that they going to feel me. And when they do, it's going to be a done deal. And I already know that. That's the best part about it. I already know that. And the reason I know I can feel it, but that's the spirit that dwells in me.
Okay. Right
now,
on.
I know I might sound like a pastor, but I'm not. I'm just an ordinary man, just like everybody else, trying to do the right thing the right way for the right reason.
Right on.
Jesus is not dead. He's still alive. That's not Martha.
Any other thoughts?
I know you said you're going to close in about an hour, but I wanted to say this. Whenever Desert Storm happened in 91, I was in the reserves at the time. And people asked me, why don't you get out? Why don't you get out? And I continued on because to me, whenever I saw what everyone was going through, I happened to receive some patients because I'm a nurse. And
That's
I
right.
felt like those children belong to some mama somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I would want someone to take care of my child in that situation. So I chose, instead of spending 10 more years in the reserve, and it's spending 20 until they kick me on out. But yeah, I wanted to be there for them whenever they were going through what they were going through. I wanted to hold their hands. I wanted to make sure that they knew somebody there cared for them, and I could love them and pray for them. Say, you can't keep me from loving you, right? You can't do that. I can love on you whether you love me back or not. And I can pray for you whether you want me to pray for you or not, even if I do it in my silence. You understand? I'm going to pray for you and I'm going to love you and I wanted to be there for that. And I just wanted to say that before I left.
Okay. Right on.
And we thank you for that, because, you know, everybody says when you go to combat, you got to come back one way or another. And you come back, who is going to be there to support you? Who is going to be there to take care of you? Who's going to be there to make sure you recover for some of the things that you encountered while you was there? And so we looked at that, you know, coming back, because we do come back with scars. And even the ones in the rear, have scars as well, because they have to deal with the aftermath. They have to push through for some of the things that we don't know that he calls them, but they can kind of understand us because they, you know, they're with us. Not saying in combat, but when we come back, they're with us after the fact. And so that's what you call a caregiver. That's what you call a person who is there to help you need help. You sometimes don't know how to help yourself. And when you pray for them, even though, and I'll say this, my mom, my aunts and uncles, they were all prayer warriors for me. And they said, hey, I'm a prayer warrior for you. I can't do what you're doing. I can't do what you're doing. But I'm going to be there and I'm going to pray for you. So God will give you the mind, the body, and the soul on that. And that was very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And some days I didn't know if I was going to make it back. I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got the opportunity to come back, I said, thank you, God, for allowing me to get back 5 times. Well, that's how many times I did go.
Right on.
And so to have that and to say that is very important. And I thank you for being there when the ones that needed McNeill, because we all needed that support.
Absolutely. And I think that you just, the both of you just pointed out something that, again, the reason why I framed the question the way I did, being a little selfish, because as Brother McDonald talked about, the scud that hit, it was Daharan, by the way, not Riyadh.
Yeah.
And 27 people got killed from a quartermaster unit out of
That was
Pennsylvania.
that mess hall, right?
I know because I was there. I know because I witnessed it. I talk about how the question was framed because, right or wrong, indifferent, I don't know, I was 20 years old. I wasn't even 21 yet. And as a 20-year-old, to see that at night, because it happened at night, my emotions went from excitement, because you see this thing in the sky at night, and because this was not the first Scud missile, you got used to it, and you were just expecting, oh, these Patriots are going to go get that. Man, this is about to be a fireworks show. Wow, this is... So there's a bunch of 20-year-olds sitting around watching this thing come down. And then so I went from excitement to, then there's an altitude that once it gets below, that Scud ain't gonna get it. I mean, that Patriot is not gonna reach it. So there's an altitude that it gets below. And once it got below that altitude, I went from excitement to horror, and then it's coming so fast that you can't move quickly enough. There's no, like, where you gonna run? It's like, where you gonna run to?
That's the butterfly. That's the butterfly.
And so, but then Brother Bynum talked about being lied to. The thing that hurt most about that situation. So I went from excitement to horror, seeing the explosion, and then kind of blacking out. Some stuff happened, and I won't get into it. But then the next day, the other thing that we witnessed was the missile fell apart. Right? Standing right up under it, it fell apart right where it was supposed to hit us and hit them instead, and the other piece went out into the Gulf by the Damon port. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yeah,
that other piece went out there. The next day, for the Armed Forces Command to dispute what the witnesses were saying. No, y'all didn't fire no Scud. I mean, no Patriot. Y'all, nobody fired anything. Like, it just fell apart, and all this. But they were disputing what we were saying. That hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why are we gonna lie? We not. I was there. I saw it. Y'all didn't fire nothing. And to know there was 3 Patriot batteries around. We kind of knew those guys because they used to let us use their sat phones to call home. Right. One at the expo, one at the airport, right? One out there by the port, I think it was. We knew the guys. So when they tell you, the people who got the fingers on the button are telling you, nah, the reason we were told by the guys on the ground that they didn't was because it was tumbling and they couldn't get a fix on it because it was tumbling. It was raggedy. Nevertheless, I bring that up because at the time, in terms of faith and all of that, for me, it's much different now as a veteran, because at the time I did not have world experiences that told me it was nothing but God. At the time, I was excited and then horrified and then woo. And for a 20-year-old, without the maturity of life
Mm-hmm.
to be able to speak, I guess, speak with confidence and maturity to someone else about faith.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't built at that time for that. But
Mm-hmm.
now as a veteran, having all of these life experiences and getting to that point where you know it's nothing but God,
That's right.
now I can speak on it. And so that's why I framed the
Right.
question that way. And Brother Curry, Sister McNeill, y'all talked about something in a way that described maturity so many years ago that I did not have. Admittedly, I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just being real. I was I wasn't mature. Let me just say it that way. Right. I wasn't that mature dude. I was not the one you want to come talking to. If that situation impacted you negatively and you needed someone to talk to, don't come talk to me, because you would have got some foolishness, talking to me back then. But now, after having years of experience, I can now say, okay, we can have that conversation. So I applaud you guys for that. I wish I was more mature back then. I just simply wasn't. And for a 20-year-old, that was kind of, I ain't gonna lie. It went, as I said, I started out exciting, right? I was looking for the light show. I thought it was gonna be something we were gonna brag about the next day, and then, when them cats, when that thing hit the building, it was.
I'll say this. I wasn't either. So, my thing is, it's just over time frame and the maturity level. Same way with the dog. Over time frame, the maturity level changed, which put me in a better place to go back and look at some of the stuff that I had endured and say it could not be nothing but God. They got me deep it. And having those prayer warriors behind me, those ones that's praying for me, because we all need prayer. And when we get it and we accept it, we understand it. And that's important. And so for me, I can say it because, and I feel your pain. Me and my buddies, we was digging hasty fighting positions. I've decided to go left to dig my hasty fighting position. He decided to go right to dig his fighting position. He hit a cluster ball. And I was literally yards away from me. And I watched his body go up in the air and fall down. Now I'm a combat lifesaver. So my thing is, okay, now it's time for me to win. Was I prepared for that? Reality struck. All the days I was training and someone sticking the dummy and then people sticking needles in the IVs and all this other stuff, all this stuff. Now I had to put that in action. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I froze. I froze for a couple of seconds until somebody hit me in the back and said, "What you gonna do?" And it took me, because you said you had that dark moment of blacking out. You don't remember. It's just like I remember. I just froze. I had to. And then after somebody nudged me, I reacted. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't remember none of that for a minute. And it was years later, I had met a colleague of mine that worked at the department that knew her nephew served with me. And it just so happens. And he reminded me, I had forgot. He said, "I remembered you that day. You were full of blood. You were soaking wet and full of blood. And we had to literally wash you completely off. Because, you burn blood, you got blood everywhere, you ain't thinking." And I still today, by him reminding me, I can't remember that piece. So sometimes we will go into a mode of deep thought or blocking something out so that we can get through whatever we got to get through. And somebody else will remind you of something that you forgot. So you basically hit it on the head there, and you said that and you made me think about something. When somebody tell that story, make you think about something. I didn't remember. It was awkward. We have those moments. We just sometimes need somebody to bring those moments back. And when they bring them back, we got to be able to say, how am I going to handle this when bring them back? Because it might take me down the space that I want to go.
My biggest job was to keeping my people focused. When Rose, you gave a good analysis of that after that happened, and then when it sunk in, and I can see that clear as day. And my biggest job was what Corey was getting at. Even I froze. I'm froze. I'm leading this pack, and I froze. But I knew I had to keep myself together to keep everybody else together. I had some land scopers, man, that were stronger than me, but I wouldn't let them know that. You see, but that was my biggest job, was keeping people focused, man. That what happened at Riyadh could have happened right here where we at. You see, it could have been wonder. You see, it's just keeping everybody focused and keeping everybody on point. I think all my energy went into my Marines. All my energy went into my Marines. I'm the first one on, and I'm the last one to get on. I make sure that they're taken care of, because at the end of the day, they're doing what I'm asking them to do. And then there's some that I got to tell what to do. And then there's some I just got to grab them by the collar and just take them where they need to go with this thing. And at the end of the day, like when we had a reunion down in Beaufort, they all master sergeants and gunnery sergeants down when they were land scope. They were 21 years old back then, 22 years old, and they decided to stay in the corps. And the first thing they did when they saw me, they came up and hugged me. And they thanked me for taking care of them. And that they learned a whole lot from me. That was my reward. And I cherish that to this day. Mm-hmm. I cherish that. Now, little did they know that there was a senior master sergeant that was keeping me straight. Mm-hmm. You see, so, we help us to one another. And that helper I had was a Vietnam vet, didn't have no business being in the war, on his way out the door. And they shut him down and sent him into the war with me. Sent him to the war with me, but I didn't want him to go because he did his thing. You know what I'm saying? 2 tours of Vietnam, and he is in. I said, you ain't got no business being here, man. Mm-hmm. It's my turn. But little did I know, I thank God for sending him with me. Mm-hmm. Because he was well-rounded. He was well experienced, and when he saw me with them butterflies, he knew how to calm me down. And when he calmed me down, I got the butterflies out of me. He knew I was good to go there. I was a true combat vet. Right on. Being molded right then and there. What they call on-the-job training, you see. Mm-hmm. And I was able to take that and run with it, not only to take it and run with it, but I was able to take care of my Marines better, as the leader. For them and all that, but at the end of the day, in my quiet moment, I was just like Corey, man. Sometimes I just cried. I couldn't believe all this was coming out of me like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm well rounded in it now. Death and destruction, man. I mean, the battlefield is my playground now. I know I'm not in it anymore, but when I look at the world, I look at it as a battlefield, man. I really do, but just on a different level. Oh yeah. What I see death and destruction, but I see it like that, and I just wanted to get that in. Man. Okay, this has been good. I appreciate it, man.
It has been very good, and I wanted to tell you, I had 15 years on you, darling. Whenever I experienced that, okay? Just so that you know, I wasn't nearly as mature at 20 as I was at the time I made that decision.
Okay. Well, it sounded like y'all were just like y'all had it together. But
I need to make sure I clear that up with you, my darling.
Right on.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it because I, as I said, my maturity level simply wasn't wasn't
I didn't
there.
want you to think I was that immature at 20. No. I had 15, maybe 16 years, but don't tell nobody.
Yeah,
All
I feel you.
right?
I feel you. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tonight, man. I really, really thank you for this. You have no idea how much I appreciate this. And look, we got to do it again sometime. All right, we got to do it again sometime. So, with that said, thank you, Sister McNeill, Brother Bynum, Brother Curry, Brother Hart, and Brother McDonald. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And we're going to go ahead and sign off. So with that, may God keep you. May God bless you. May God continue to be with you. Thank you so much.
Same thing to you. Same thing to you.
All right, you too, my brother.
God bless you.
Amen.